what do you see when you see the people around you? I mentioned in my earlier talk that I grew up in Apartheid, South Africa. Last few years that I was there, I was pastor of Umhlanga Baptist Church. And at the church, we employed a couple of people. One was a gardener. He was a black man. And as I said, in South Africa in those days, you had to think everything in terms of race, black or white, because it was this enormous divide between everything. And John was the gardener for the church. He was an illiterate gardener. He couldn't read and he couldn't write. And Nellie was the cleaner for the church, and she also was an illiterate woman. She couldn't read, she couldn't write. But they were extraordinary human beings. I mean, John couldn't read or write, but he had these large grounds to tend, and he went to them with an energy that was seriously impressive. And he had this sense of calling, his vocation about what he was doing. And I remember talking to him once and saying, you know, we have this room here, and we had created this prayer room that was just linked to the church and was always left open. It was a beautiful room, and people just felt the pressures of life, and they wanted to go and pray. They would go to this room, and we had a number of people who would just come, and it would just be a safe and kind of sacred space that people could be in. And I said to John, you know, there was this beautiful fig tree, a kind of large fig tree outside. And I said, you know, it would be lovely if that could also be a place where people could just sit and pray. And his eyes kind of just lit up, and he knew that he was being asked to create a beautiful space there. And this illiterate gardener who had no power in the community and who had no voice in the community just transformed that space into a space of compelling beauty. So the people stopped going into the prayer room and stayed outside in the garden and prayed and sat in the benches that he had told us that we needed to put there. And he made an enormous difference in the community. Who was he? He was John, the illiterate gardener. No, he was John, who in any other world, in a world that was even vaguely just, would have been an architect or an engineer or something, like some impressive sounding career. But he was John who lived his life with a sense of vocation and calling. Like people are extraordinary if you actually look at them, and if you actually see them, and if you move past some of the stereotypes that go with them. And there are so many other extraordinary stories that are out there. And I want you to see this great paradox of beauty, that it is so often found in places that you don't expect to find it.